How are we doing, diggers? Hope you're well. Welcome to the shop. Welcome to the YouTube channel. If you've not been here before, we are a shop in Burbage, Leicestershire, selling vinyl records, CDs, music memorabilia, all sorts of bits and bobs like that. Here we go. Here's the shop in all its splendour. We've also got another small shop in Hinckley, which is like 10 minutes away. And to those people that already have been here and checking us out, thank you so much for all the likes, subscribes, comments, love those. So thank you so much, because at the end of the day, it grows our business and it keeps things interesting here in the shop, because we wouldn't be here without you guys, the customers. So thank you so much. Today, we're talking about rare records. We're going to have a look at some of the records that we've got in stock that are rare, desirable, collectible, hard to find. And we'll start with the pros and cons of rarities coming through the shop. So the vast majority of our sales are made up of what I would call bread and butter records. Records here in our new and sealed section, which are often feature on a top 100, top 1,000 to listen to before you die. Best indie records, best new wave rock records. Those are like bread and butter records. Our £5 section, for instance, you're not going to find many rarities in there, but these things fly out. This whole section here, the £5 section, pretty much turns over in a month. So all of these records will go, and we will have more records coming into this section. Most people, majority of people, like those to bulk out or to fill up their collections. And then you've got stuff, I don't know, like this, a NEMS reissue, great way of owning this classic album, 18 quid, not a huge amount. So that's a really good way. Buying a reissue is a great way of owning that record, but not spending the 50, 60 quid that record would be worth as a first press. So, like I say, bread and butter stuff. Those are the things that our business relies on. Rarities wise, things are a bit different. So, first of all, there's a couple of different ways that rarities come in the shop. You'll go to see a big collection, and it completely depends on the collection, but you might have a few rarities in there. You might have a load of bread and butter stuff, some decent titles, and then you might have, I don't know, 5 rarities out of 100, say, let's just say, depending on the collection. And those are your hook to buying the collection as well. Those are the things that you talk about when you're there. Oh yeah, this one's a rarity, this one's a rarity, this one's got good value. Those are your hooks to buy in. More often than not, it is people coming in who are collectors or dealers who know that they've got a rare record in their collection and they want to cash it out to put different records in their collection, or they're trying to release funds by selling this one record. That's the majority of rare records for us that come in. People that are coming in just to sell those rare records. Bit trickier on that, because you haven't got, when you're buying a big collection, you've got a lot more leverage within that collection to say, okay, I can pay top dollar for those rarities, but I know I've got all these little itty bitty, like £3-5 records that will sell to sort of make up my investment on that. When people are just coming in with 2 rare records, that's quite tricky, because you're putting all of your money investment into those records on the hope that they will sell. And on selling rare records, that can be the tricky part. The tricky bit is finding a buyer that is willing and wanting to pay the big money that these rarities demand. And if you've not got that lined up, or in the back of your head you're thinking, that is going to be a tricky sell. Rarities by themselves are already quite niche in the fact that not many people are willing to spend, you know, £100 plus on a record, one record, unless it really is important to them, or they're an established collector and they don't mind, or they've got a lot of disposable income. Most people are not interested in that. They're interested in these smaller bits and bobs. That's what we find anyway. Now, exclusively for the last 3 years, we have only sold in the shop. We haven't done online. That has changed now, vinylshakedown.com. You can go on there, you can view our rarities. We've only put rarities and new and sealed at the moment, because we'd find that our bread and butter stuff would just shift too quickly. By the time we've uploaded it, it's gone, because our prices are decent. So the rarities are up there at the moment. You can go and check those out. Before the online, we would just on a wing and a prayer, hoping that someone would come into the shop and go, oh my goodness, that really rare record that I just happened to be looking for. That was quite tricky because it doesn't really happen like that very often, unless, luckily for us, we've really built our social media, which is countrywide, almost worldwide. You know, lots of customers seeing us around the world, but it's UK really. They will see it on our Instagram, on our Facebook, and travel in for it. So that helps to some extent, but putting it online, you've just got a worldwide audience straight away. So yeah, what I'm trying to say is Rarities can stick around for quite some time. We've got some Rarities that have been in the shop 2 years. People come in, look at them, talk about them, get excited about them, but actually stumping up the cash to buy them is the next part of the story, which doesn't always end like that. But they're great to have in. They are good fun, but you've got to price them right as well. Goodness, I think I've said a lot there, haven't I? We should look at some records, shouldn't we? So I'm going to start with this one. This is the Artwoods. I think I've spoken about this before. It's a demo record. The Artwoods are a sort of moddy 60s psyche bluesy rock group featuring Ron Wood from the Stones and his brother, the Woods. Yeah, Ronnie Wood, his brother. As you can see, this is handwritten, and it says The Mystery Record, which is actually the title of the B-side, but they had put Egg Button Chips rather than their actual name on there. Goodness knows who wrote that. Could have been Ronnie Wood, might have just been a person in the studio, who knows. So yeah, demo record, I Feel Good. You would definitely know this tune. No, let's just give you a little play of it. Let's give it a little play. You probably will recognise this tune. It's a real stomper. So yeah, little. I don't want to get done by copyright, but yeah. So a really cool rarity there that I actually had to upload onto Discogs. Didn't actually exist as a demo record. The original, just on usual Decca label, usually goes for around 300 quid. I've only put 500 quid on that. Piece of history there. How many of these are there? Who knows? Not many though, I would say, because of the handwritten element to it. So yeah, real piece of unique history there if you're into that sort of thing. Next up, again, that was a demo. This is an advanced single, and this is Tyrannosaurus Rex, Mark Bolan's outfit before they came T-Rex. 1968, I believe, their first single as an advance. So a lovely, lovely rarity. This one is in exemplary condition, absolutely beautiful. Now, originally, because it's the advance, it didn't come in the picture sleeve, but we have mocked one up because we think it's super cool. So that would have been the original picture sleeve that you would have got with it. But we don't think, well, when I picked up the collection, it was in this sleeve. This was how it looked. So I don't think it came with the original picture sleeve, but we'll throw that in for you if you stump up the big bucks for that. Again, very few of these advanced singles listed online at all. So a real piece of history, especially as they went on to become one of the biggest glam bands of all time. Next up, 90s music. Often you will find some valuable records and rarities. They weren't making as many records, CDs had taken over, and also a demographic of the people buying records at the moment sort of are going back to their like teenage times or childhood and remembering the 90s and wanting that in their record collection. So two things make them rare. Scarcity, there aren't as many of them, and also the fact that they are sought after by more people at the moment. So 90s stuff is in demand. And also, it seems like in the 90s, because they weren't pressing as much, the bits that they did press, they did as limited runs. So this is a No Doubt, Don't Speak, that one. And you see, it's numbered. and also it's on coloured vinyl. Oh no, it's not, it's actually a picture disc. Okay, so it's a picture disc, numbered, and you found that a lot with 90s singles especially, that they didn't do a huge run of them, they just did them as limited pieces. We've got an Oasis as well, which is numbered there. Now this one comes with the original fan club postcard as well, which is quite cool. And things like this, the little hype sticker, a little added extras that make these nice rarities. Again, like I say, another limited edition. Don't know if this is numbered. We've got Rage Against the Machine there, but it is on, again, like a coloured picture disc kind of thing. Very nice. Not a huge cost there, but a rarity. Remember, all of these are up on our website at the moment. Then we've got a whole genre piece. Oh, wait a minute, I'll show you these first. So another rarity thing is that this is a rare single, but it definitely isn't very sought after. So not many people are looking for it. That's because it's a local rarity. So this is Harrison. They were sort of a jangly indie pop band of the late 80s, and they are from Hinckley. So we get a couple of these in. Now, if you look it up online, it's quite hard to find, quite hard to come across, and does go for a decent wedge of money. But not many people are looking for it, and we find that most people have already got it because they went to see the band back in the day and got one then. But yeah, so not all rarities are incredibly sought after. A band that people ask for all day long next are The Cure. So we've got here a Cure, fully signed Why Can't I Be You single. It's also the Japanese press of that, which I think is really cool. I've priced it hardly anything over, I think the original goes for around 100 quid, I think, off the top of my head, without the signatures. There's no authentication with this, and that's the thing with signatures. If it's authenticated, yeah, that kind of helps, definitely helps. Doesn't always mean that it's still the right thing. That's just one person's opinion. These haven't been authenticated. Looking at them and looking them up online, they really do look right. They look right to me. The pressure is different on each one. We've got two different types of pen, albeit same red pen, and they do match up with the signatures online. So more than likely it is legit, but we haven't got authentication. I could send it off, I suppose, couldn't I? But then that would probably cost me that in authentication, so not much point. And then sometimes, like I say, you get a run of stuff that comes in. So recently we had some Mod Revival stuff come in. So yeah, the Mod Revival stuff, the earlier stuff, and that's the same with like punk, I suppose, and other genres of music. The early stuff, when they were just making stuff, is really hard to come across. So this is a band called Small World. It's called First Impressions. This is their first ever single, self-released. So a lot of the time, if it's self-released and they went on to do other stuff, I don't know if these guys did go on to do any other stuff. I'm not the biggest expert on Mod Revival stuff, but that is a tasty rarity. And again, in that scene as well, we had a few more bits. Mod Revival, soul-y sort of stuff, cool sleeves, hard to come by. Another one there. So Mod Revival. So yeah, Mod Revival, hard to find stuff there. Soul is always a good one, like Northern Soul-y sort of tracks. We've got a Northern Soul one here, which is around 300 quid, quite a tricky one to track down. So that's mainly our singles. Let's have a look at some albums, shall we? So a quick costume change to look at the albums. Joking, obviously, it's a different day. Let's have a little wander around, shall we? That's probably the easiest way to see the rarities. So most of the rarities, yeah, go on the wall. What have we got at the moment? Oh, I'll pull that. We can have a look at that. A very nice. So yeah, that Dua Lipa, I showed it in my last video. It's something like the complete edition 3LP. It's bonkers. It's so hard to come by, but you really need to be a big fan of that album and Dua Lipa. Nice craft work, comes in relatively often, but again, really lovely condition one. That Michael Sardaby in New York is absolutely sublime as the jazz record. Kind of later jazz record. I think it's 70s, but yeah, it's absolutely great. Augustines. I don't know much about these guys, I'm afraid, but a lot of people come in and spot this and go, oh my god, are you kidding me? I'd love to get a copy of that. But yeah, that's a solid rarity, that is. And FX Twin as well, lovely 90s record. The ambient works. So look at this one. This is one of the records that as a record shop or a dealer, you're always like, see a copy of this and you pull it out slowly, hoping to see, hooray, black and gold. So the very early copies of this that came out had a black and gold, that early black and gold Parlophone label that looks a bit like that, or looks exactly like that. Black and gold Parlophone label. This one is a really, really nice copy. Still VG Plus. It is very old, isn't it, obviously? And it has had some play and some use, but it sounds stunning and it looks... It's a really clean copy. The sleeve, more importantly, on these, it's got the original inner as well, the Emitex inner. Now, the sleeve on this, I've not come across one that isn't ripped at the bottom. So that bottom edge there, usually what happens is that this, in the factory, didn't have much room for the glue on there, so it rips, it comes apart, basically comes apart. I've never come across one that is intact fully. And also this corner is always heavily dinked. That is actually print of the buildings, but usually heavily dinked to the point where you can't actually sometimes make out one of the indicating factors that this is an actual first press. Basically, if the photos by Angus McBean, sorry, if it lines up with the end of that S, it's a first press sleeve. If it lines up with the beginning of the S, then it's a later press sleeve. Geeky knowledge. I think most people know that. Personally, I wouldn't say this was hugely rare. It is a pretty rare record. You don't come across them every day, obviously, but there's not much time as a shop that we don't have one in stock, because they do come in pretty regularly. I think this is our 8th, 9th copy over 3 years, and so it, yeah, crops up quite a lot. Condition obviously is crucial, and we've let VG ones of these go for around 300. I think I let one go relatively recently, which wasn't very nice, but it was 150. And you do see them online at utterly, there was a couple online at the moment for utterly scandalous prices, a good plus in way over 4 figures. So this one here, I would put a strong VG plus. We've got 650 on it, which seems a lot to me, but at the moment they seem to be listed for quite a lot elsewhere. Continuing with our whiz around, so most of the time the real rarities are at the top there, so it's harder for people to grab. And usually then I have to be called because I made the shop for me and I'm 6'4", so for me to grab them. It's always lovely when you get stuff in with original inserts or extra receipts and stuff like that. 9 Inch Nails broken, mini album, but it's got the 7-inch in it, and it's got the original information sheet, and it's in absolutely immaculate condition. So that's really, really nice, that is. Obviously not all mad rarities. This Fresh Maggots, oh man, Nuneaton band, so very, very local to us. It's insanely rare. I've never seen a real copy. I always imagine that one day it's going to come in because we're so close to the epicenter of this album. But a lovely bit of acid folk from 1971. This is a repress, but even those are really tricky to come across. So yeah, that's pretty nice. They're not rarities, they're just on the wall because they're cool. That Kano has been annoying me forever. It's now up on our website. So yeah, like I say, you can scoot over and see that. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, probably not sure, but when that was released, it came out in somewhere, it was distributed and came out in somewhere like JD Sports, and it was only available there. I can't remember the exact story of that, but it came with a sticker on the front, only available at something like JD Sports or something like that. So yeah, a masterpiece in grime, like hip hop, British grime culture, but I don't know, with a price tag of 150 odd quid, you've got to be well into it to have it. But it's the only way that you can get that on record, only that pressing. Signed White Lies there, that's quite cool. My Bloody Valentine. That Joey Badass is, basically, I don't think it ever got released. Sorry, it's hard for you to see, isn't it, because the light's glaring off. I don't think that ever got released on vinyl when it originally came out, in just at the start of the 2000s, 1990. Oh yes, it's called 1999, isn't it? So it came out in 1999. But yeah, it never was released, so that is a bootleg, but even the bootlegs are incredibly hard to get. Signed, fully signed, ABC, Lexicon of Love, which is a great, perfect pop album. Absolutely great. And fully signed by all the guys. It's quite nice, it's quite cool. Kate Le Bon signed as well up there. What else have we got? Pulp, again, 90s stuff, really hard to get. I talked about that Mad Jazz one in my last video. It's a bit more craft work, and stuff that isn't hugely expensive but still quite rare to come across. That Tony Williams Emergency is hard to find but not hugely expensive. It's only 40 quid. Led Zepp, I think that's about a fourth pressing or something. And then over here we've got our Rarities box. I'll give you a little flick through of the Rarities box. A Morrissey promo, last of the famous International Playboys. Early first press Meet Is Murder, not hugely rare, but don't come in very often. There's some definite oddities that I don't really know in here. Oh, that's lovely. I can't open it up, it's fully sealed. But it is the newspaper edition, King of Limbs Radiohead. So when you open it up, it's like in a newspaper, and it contains 2 LPs and a CD. But like I say, it's still sealed from 2011. That came out. Chris Rea, Blue Guitars, which is apparently an absolute blues masterpiece, would you believe? It's quite cool. Not a first press, but the silver press, not hugely valuable. Ist, all of those are quite hard to come by. Again, that's quite tricky to come by, not incredibly rare. A really nice first press of that with the psychedelic inner, which is really cool. Usually that gets destroyed or it disappears, and it's got the cutouts as well. So that's a really nice copy of that. So quite a lot of not hugely valuable stuff, but harder to find stuff, which is good for us. Just did that one. Some Stranger Folk stuff, some later stuff. So again, Ist. Don't know what's going on with their label, but it's really quite tricky to come across. Never do. Dink edition one, the Gossip. Another Ist, which is hard to find. Oh, this is a big rarity. Throbbing Gristle, the Sordid Sentimental, which is the most famous one is the Joy Division one of that, which is incredibly rare. I think they only put out something like 1,500 odd copies of this, so it's very hard to come by. This one comes with like an insert and something else like an insert. It did originally come with a print, and the print is incredibly explicit, and that doesn't come with that. That's very rare to find. Lush, nice bit of 90s stuff. Record Store Bay, original Frank Black. I think that one's still sealed. Yeah, so this came in a cardboard sealed, with a sealed sticker on it, and it's still sealed from the 90s there. But like I say, some of this stuff doesn't move particularly quickly. This one's an interesting one, limited to just 500 copies, drawn, hand painted by Michael Gira from Swans. I hope I'm saying his name right. And if you look online, these are hilarious, because as he gets more, let's just say, juiced on narcotics, the paintings get wilder. And as we've only got number 5 of 500, I don't think they quite kicked in at that point. Again, more white lies there. Very tricky to come across. First and only press of that record. Signed Lush there. That's quite cool. We've got a few signed bits in at the moment. That's really cool. Charlie Mingus, 1964 UK press. Yeah, very nice rarity that is. More 9-inch nails. Yeah, had that forever. An Australian Ramones, a Dulux Ed Sheeran. Probably going to have that for the rest of my life. This is called T-Rex with the poster that you never see. So yeah, this T-Rex one, obviously T-Rex being the glam gods that they were very popular with young boys and girls. Therefore, these posters, if they made them home, or if they came with it, because it was only limited to some, went straight on their walls. And therefore, to find one in immaculate condition like this one is incredibly rare. So, a bit like Black Sabbath, Masters of Reality, where the poster is worth more than the record in that case. And someone asked the other day, how do you know if that poster, the Masters of Reality poster, can't fold this back up now. How do you know if it's the real poster? And you need to weigh it. Can't remember exactly how much, but it's like 53 grams is the original one, and all the repro ones can't match that because of the paper used at the time. Geeky knowledge. So yeah, there we have it. Some nice rarities there. Should we whiz over to the jazz bits? Because we have had about 4 amazing jazz collections in of recent. When I say amazing, there are some that we're still keeping hold of for a long time. So jazz wise, we've got this, those two. All of these on the floor here are all jazz. And then our usual jazz lot here. This is all jazz on the floor here as well. This is all Miles Davis, and this is our usual jazz lot here. So a huge amount of jazz in right now, and still some absolutely incredible albums. Yeah, that's really, I mean, a few represses and stuff, but super cool. I mean, that is amazing. Again, repress. Onto the rarity stuff, the original stuff. There are some bits in here that are original rarity stuff. They usually stick up on the wall. That New York scene there is, I mean, I've not checked it for a while, but when I was checking online, we probably have the only copy in existence for sale right now. And it hasn't sold for ages. Stupendously rare, stupendously hard to come across, and absolutely killer. It's amazing. It's really good. You go triple fret from Jimmy Heath with Freddie Hubbard on. That's great. And I am really getting into my jazz recently, but I can't afford to keep any of these. So yeah, some nice jazzy bits as well. Okay, so jumping in the middle of this video, I don't even know where this sits, because just as I was finishing up the video and I'd already recorded the ending and stuff, I've just closed the deal on some absolute beautiful rarities. So yeah, basically a really close friend I've known for a very long time, friend of the family, the dad of one of my great friends, gives me a call and says, I think I've got something rather rare. I'd like you to take a look at it, brings it in, and he has got something rather rare. So had a look and absolutely loved going through these, finding out the history of them. And yeah, put in a very competitive offer, and he phoned me back and he's just popped in with them now. So I've got these absolute stunners here. So let's have a quick look at these beauties. We've got a lovely 5 leaves left here. That is 1972 pressing. So it came out in 1969 on the Pink Island label with the pink eye on there, which is insanely rare. Now, that's the one I kept. This one is my pressing that's coming into the shop. So that's a lovely one. I'll do a deep dive into Nick Drake, because when we go back and look at my collection, we'll do a bit of a deep dive into him, because I absolutely adore him. We've got Brighter Later. 1971. And then Pink Moon, his final album, 1972. He died in 1974, just 26 years old. The weirdest thing about these coming in is these came in, did the deal on them, and I thought in my head, I nearly just said to Guy, what I need now is, because they didn't come with the original inners, I said, what I need now is someone to come in with like, I don't know, some cheap records, but with these light blue Island inners in so I can replace them. And I kid you not, 1.5 minutes later, someone came in with a complete wedge of Cat Stevens on Island Records around the same period of these. Very cheap to buy in, very cheap to go out. They go out for like £3 to £5. So I replaced them with the lovely Island logos, Island inners. Now, obviously, as these sold so few back in the day, I think 5 leaves left here. I'm absolutely certain that this record only sold around 5,000 copies. Well, 5,000 copies were pressed or something similar like that. And only around 3,000 of them made it out into the shops and actually sold. The rest were just stacked up. And it ended up that the first press sleeves made it onto the second and third presses because they just had loads left over. Absolutely criminal for such a beautiful album. So yeah, those have just come in. I've not priced them yet, not graded them yet, I've not sorted them yet. So they will be hitting our website very soon, vinylshakedown.com. But our rule is that everything goes into the shop first. All customers have first dibs on stuff. If you're a visiting customer, it just keeps it fair, I think, because if you've made the journey or you've made the effort to come to us, I don't want everything that I put online or on our socials to suddenly disappear before people get to step foot in the door. So that's our rule. We've always had a 2-week rule on it. Now, as we've just launched the website, and these are such rarities, these might go on a little bit earlier to sort of build a bit of a buzz, but who knows? Anyway, I'm rambling on again. So yeah, lovely to have these absolute stunners in at the last minute just to finish off our rarities video. And condition wise, these are absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful records. I'll just whiz out Pink Moon. Obviously, I've tried to show you before the quality of records. That, I mean, when you put it on, I don't know if it's even been played. It must have been played a couple of times, obviously, but it's absolutely beautiful. Factory fresh. Love it. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed that little look through the rarities. Like I say, it's always changing, always changing. Some have probably featured on previous videos because we've had them for so long, because it's so niche. Others move so quickly we don't even get a chance to put them on our socials. That's just the way it goes. But yeah, tune in next time. Hopefully we'll do a bit of a deep dive into my own collection for our next video. But yeah, thank you, diggers. See you later. Bye.